everybody. With this project we're going to be creating a spring tulip picture. We are going to be learning how to draw tulips. I'm going to walk you through each step on how to do that, and we're going to color our tulips in using different kinds of patterns. The supplies that you'll need for this project: you'll need a white piece of paper, you'll need a pencil to draw with, and something to color with. I recommend crayons and markers, but if you only have one of those supplies, we can make that work. You could also paint this in if you have paints at home. Gather your supplies, we'll be ready to get started. Okay, I've gathered my supplies. I have a white piece of paper, I have a pencil to draw with. So to begin, we are going to be drawing tulips. Now, tulips are a really beautiful spring flower. We see them in the spring a lot. And they're very simple to draw. I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can draw tulips. So the first step is to make a U. Okay, so there's my U. I noticed I drew it pretty big. I didn't do itty bitty U. Now, the easy way to do the top of the tulip is by making a zigzag line across the top. Notice that my zigzag line is nice and neat. It's not a scribbly zigzag line. It's a nice, neat zigzag line. Okay, so draw your first tulip. Now, when we draw the stem, we don't want to do just one single line. We're going to draw two lines. So I'm going to draw a line all the way down to the bottom of the paper, and from here all the way down to the bottom of the paper, like that. And now we're going to draw the leaves on the tulip. Leaves have nice, long, tall, broad leaves, so that's what we're going to be drawing. So I'm going to start at the bottom. Notice I did a curved line. Now the top's going to be a little bit pointy, so I'm going to come back this direction and come all the way back down to the bottom. And I'm going to repeat on the other side for another leaf. Now notice that my two leaves are not the same size and they're not exactly the same. That's totally fine. In nature, things are not always exactly the same. So we're going to draw another tulip. This time I'm going to make this tulip a little bit shorter. If we draw them all exactly the same height, then it doesn't look quite as interesting as if we make them a little bit different heights. So I'm going to draw the next one a little bit further down now. It's not way further down, it's just a little bit further down. So there's that first step of drawing the U shape. Now I'm going to show you a little bit different way to do this tulip. I'm going to start here at one side, and I'm going to draw kind of a curved line that comes and ends right here. Now I'm going to come up to this right here, and I'm going to draw a curved line, but then I'm going to stop when I get here. And then I'm going to draw kind of an upside down V, but it's going to have a little bit curved side. So just slightly curved. It's pointy at the top. Kind of looks like a stretched out V. Okay, so this is just another way to draw a tulip. If this was challenging for you, just stick with the zigzag line. Now I'm going to draw the stem and the leaves. Now when I do this leaf, I'm going to end up coming in, it's going to end up touching or crossing this one. I don't want it to draw in front of it. I'm going to do something called overlapping. So watch what I do. I'm going to start here, do a curved line. I'm going to stop when I get here, pick my pencil up to this side of the leaf, make a little point for the pointed part, pick my pencil up and come over here and finish off. Okay, now it looks like I probably only have room for one more tulip. So I'm going to do one more tulip. Now here, it's going to cross, have that overlapping like that. Now I've got the drawing portion done of the tulips. Now for the background, we're going to draw some lines on our background. And that's just going to kind of break up our background so that we can put different patterns in our background. So we're going to be drawing some straight lines. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to start at the edge of my paper, and I'm going to draw a diagonal line. Now watch, I'm going to draw my diagonal line here, but then I'm going to stop. I don't want to draw on top of my tulip. Pick my pencil up and come on the other side of the tulip and finish that diagonal line until I get to the top of my paper. Okay, I'm going to repeat this and do some more lines. They can be diagonal, they can be horizontal, so straight across, or vertical, up and down. We don't want any curvy or wavy lines on this project. We're going to stick with straight lines. Okay, and remember, we don't want to draw on top of our tulips, our stems, or our leaves. So watch the lines that I make. Now this time I'm going to start right here. You could start at the edge of the paper and draw, but I'm going to do this one right here like this. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to draw a diagonal line. I'm going to stop when I get right here, come over on this side, and finish off. Now I think I'm going to do a line like this. I'm going to stop when I get to the leaf and finish the line off down here. Now I'm going to keep drawing until I have blocked in my background. Now, one thing too to keep in mind is you don't want these spaces to be itsy bitsy. We don't want it to be so distracting that we lose our flowers. So right now I've done 1, 2, 3 lines. I'm probably going to do about 3 or 4 more lines. There, now I have drawn my line. So what I'm going to do is I'm ready to start coloring in. We're going to use different patterns. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to be outlining my lines with markers, and then I'm going to go in and do my patterns with crayons. If you only have markers, then just do your patterns with markers. If you only have crayons, then just do your patterns with crayons. If you have both markers and crayons, you can use both, like me. Okay, so I'm going to start off with one of my tulips here, and I'm going to make it purple. So I'm going to find a purple marker and a purple crayon. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline my tulip with my purple marker. Okay, now I'm going to make a pattern inside of this tulip with probably just lines on this one. I think I'm going to do I'll do dotted lines. Okay, so I'm just going to do vertical dotted lines. If you want to follow along and do the same pattern with me, you can, or you can do your own kind of pattern or design inside of there. So now that I've done my dotted line pattern with my marker, I'm going to take my crayon and now lightly, I'm not going to push super duper hard, I'm going to do this lightly. I'm going to fill in the rest of the tulip. So notice I used a purple marker and a purple crayon. I used the same color. I didn't use 2 different colors on this. So now I'm going to do the stem. So I'm going to find a green crayon and a green marker. Okay, I've got my green marker and my green crayon. So I'm going to take my marker, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do the stem and the leaves at the same time. So I'm going to trace my lines. And then I'm going to put some kind of a pattern. Now, this stem is kind of skinny, so I'm probably just going to leave the stem as it is. So I'm just going to put some like curly lines, some swirly lines for my pattern inside of my leaves. Okay, and then I'm going to color the space inside with my green crayon. And again, I'm just going to leave the stem as it is because that's kind of a little small place that would be kind of difficult to draw a pattern in, so I'm not going to worry about drawing a pattern in there. Now, if you were using just crayons, I'll show you how to do that on the next one. Now, if you don't have markers and you just have crayons, one thing you can do is just use a crayon, and when you go over your pencil lines, press hard with the crayon. And then when you're drawing your patterns, press hard with your crayon as well. I think I'll just do diagonal line patterns on this one. And then when you color in lightly. So you still get the same kind of effect that you do when you use the markers and crayons. That way you can still see your patterns. I'm going to continue coloring my tulips. You can use whatever colors you would like. I would recommend not using blue because we're going to use blue for the background as the sky. So pick different colors other than blue, and I'm going to finish coloring my tulips now. Now I have finished coloring in my tulips. I'm going to work on the background, and I'm going to do exactly the same things I did on the tulips with the background. I'm going to start with a blue marker, and I'm going to trace all of my lines with a blue marker. Okay, and then inside of each one of these spaces, I'm going to draw a different pattern. Now I can repeat patterns because I have a lot of spaces, so I may have to end up redoing some patterns a few times, and that's okay. But I'm going to fill each space of these in with a different pattern now with my marker. Okay, so now I have drawn my patterns with my blue marker. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to color these spaces in with a blue crayon. Now I have a couple of different shades of blue, so I'm going to alternate which blues I use, but if you just have one shade of blue, then you can just use that one. Or if you have more than one shade like me, you can switch back and forth and use the different shades of blue to color in your background. So notice I'm doing it lightly, I'm not pressing super hard. You should be able to do this pretty quickly. You should be able to fill in these spaces since we're just doing it very quickly. We're not worrying about making sure that the color is real thick and waxy like sometimes we do when we color. We can just do these really lightly, and it should not take you very long to fill in the background. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is filling in the background with my blue crayons. There we are. Now I'm finished coloring in my spring tulips pattern drawing. We use lots of patterns to create different textures and design elements in our work. And because we use different colors other than blue, our tulips really stand out well against our background. I hope you had a lot of fun creating this artwork, and I can't wait to see everybody's creations. Bye.